Viewers, you're watching The Explosive Exclusive with me and Navika Kumar. In just about 7 minutes back, exactly 7 minutes back, Times Now reported that the first clear breakthrough in this case concerning Sushant Singh Rajput's mysterious death has taken place. We're going to take this forward over the next half an hour or so. But just to quickly recap, 7 minutes ago, we were told that one of those peddlers who was being interrogated by the NCB and the CBI has come out and said that he was, in fact, supplying drugs to Rhea Chakravarti and her brother. This is very big, Navika. What is also going to take this story forward is that it appears to me, given the fact that there are now witnesses, there are drug chats that you yourself brought out last week and put out there, that the inner circle, Rhea's entire drug chat circle, is beginning to crack. A massive revelation coming up. Shruti Modi's counsel, Navika, has gone public on Times Now.
That's right. This is the big breaking news that we are bringing to you. It is the inner circle of Rhea Chakrabarti which is beginning to crack. And let me tell you that all the investigation agencies, the Narcotics Control Bureau, the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate are working in tandem. And as far as the drug deal is concerned, they know that Rhea and Shawik Chakravarti are the key focal points of this drug racket, but it does involve many more in this ring of drug suppliers, drug dealers who have connections with not just A-listers in Bollywood, but also to the political system in Mumbai, in Maharashtra. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you the biggest explosive link. And this time, it is Shruti Modi. Shruti Modi in the inner circle of Rhea Chakrabarti. You saw all of those chats that were happening on drug supplies. The chats that were going on between Shawik Chakravarti, Rhea Chakrabarti, Shruti Modi, Jaya Saha. There was this entire ring along with Samuel Miranda.
Dipesh.
And all of them are now linked to this big drug network, and Shruti Modi's lawyer Ashok Sarogi has come out and named this drug supplier. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd want you to listen to this statement that has been made by Ashok Sarogi. He's not somebody we have found. He represents Shruti Modi, who is being questioned at this moment by the CBI.
And she's prime accused. She's
prime accused in the NCB case, prime accused even in the CBI case.
For poisoning, for allegedly poisoning Sushant Singh Rajput using drugs. Navika, last week you had pulled out chats that linked Shruti Modi to the administering of drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput, at least those drugs that on the face of it cannot be administered to anyone without a prescription. So Navika, today it is Shruti Modi's lawyer that has decided to come out, clearly distancing this entire ring, including his own client Shruti Modi, from the drug, saying that, listen, we are not the suppliers. Sorry, we are not the suppliers. The supplier is a controversial, politically connected Mumbai builder's son, and his name is Imtiyaz
Khatri. And yes, anybody in Mumbai, everybody in Mumbai's Bollywood circuit, every politician is familiar with this name, Imtiyaz Khatri. Let me show you pictures of Imtiyaz Khatri with the rich and famous in Mumbai. And listen in to this statement made by Ashok Sarogi, lawyer of Shruti Modi, accused along with Rhea Chakrabarti in the unnatural death, and that is the FIR of the Bihar Police which said this. And so far, of course, abetment to suicide case of the CBI also resting on this. Let's listen in to Ashok Sarogi. And that on your screens is Imtiyaz Khatri, Sushant Singh Rajput also seen with him, and Imtiyaz Khatri, yes, that's the man with the red circle.
It's interesting, he's come out of a party with a glass in his hand. This is Sushant Singh Rajput's, apparently his birthday party was celebrated at this particular. He comes out with a glass in his hand. There you can see him there. It's a glass of something I can't quite make out. It's a dark colored liquid. But he walks out, perhaps, it's an alcoholic beverage, could be Coca-Cola, I don't know. But certainly trying to get Sushant to go into a car.
And even getting restless if Sushant Singh Rajput is getting his pictures clicked with a few fans. Even that's making him restless, and he's pushing him into the car and taking him away. And that's Imtiyaz Khatri with Sushant Singh Rajput. And Imtiyaz Khatri, clearly the big name, son of a builder, and somebody who has links to the political network as well. And that's Imtiyaz Khatri. And Imtiyaz Khatri has been named by none other than Shruti Modi's lawyer. Let's listen in to the lawyer before we look at what Imtiyaz Khatri really stands for in Mumbai's big drug circuit.
Now, as far as drugs are concerned, it's a very common thing in the film industry. If you remember, one of the TV actress has committed suicide, and her boyfriend was in the clouds, and there was a news that he was supplier of the drugs. There were other news also, like Mamta Kulkarni and others. So it's a very common factor. Even today, if you wander around the Lokhandwala area and Oshiwara area, I'm sure you will be in a position to get some person who is ready to deliver you the things. So it's a very common thing in the film industry. Now, as far as the supply, etc. is concerned, it is also within the knowledge of the police authorities as to how these things are being supplied. All these drugs are being supplied by one of the topmost person in the trade, that is Mr. Khatri. Now, as far as Mr. Khatri is concerned, he is a very big person. I believe today...
What's his full name, sir?
Imtiyaz Khatri.
Okay.
I believe that today, since I am taking his name, tomorrow there might be some problems with me also, because he is that kind of influential person. He do not have influence only in the Bollywood, but also in the ministry. He is very close to the political party, that is NCP. And I must tell you, his two family members were also involved in the irrigation scheme running into thousands of crores of rupees. They were behind the bar, and it is only after the present government came into existence they have been granted bail. So
who are those two relatives, sir, if you can name for our viewer?
Father and son both were behind the bar for almost, I can say, about 2 years. And thereafter, when the present government came, obviously their own government has come, and therefore they have been bailed out. Now, we
have one video of also 2017 party where Mr. Khatri, allegedly Mr. Khatri, can be seen guiding Sushant, controlling him, guiding him to the vehicle.
Sir, I'll tell you that if you look at that video will show how many politicians have attended to that party. Now, I'm sure that you will find at least the number of MLAs of Maharashtra Assembly as it was at that point of time attending that party, which will show the kind of influence he was having upon the politicians.
Sir, you're making these allegations on Imtiyaz Khatri. Has ever any link of him in the past came with the drug cartel or drug racket? How much you are sure when you're making these allegations on Mr. Imtiyaz Khatri?
Sir, I have got this information from the video chats which I have in my possession. Of course, Khatri is not named, but the person whom I have named, Sohail Sagar, that he has specifically named these persons. I must tell you, Bandra Police has called him, and he was there at Bandra Police Station for about a day, and thereafter, obviously, since he has got a big connections, he was allowed to go, and no records have been made. If you take out the footage of Bandra Police Station, you will find his presence, but subsequently, all the records about his attendance, etc., that has gone. So this entire trade is being controlled by Mr. Khatri, and it is nothing new, because since I am concerned with the film trade, I come across so many persons who are taking the drugs, who are known to me, who are being forced to take the drugs, and on some of the occasions, because of say want of work, etc., they are being forced to go into this line.
Absolutely
Ashok Rastogi
shocking.
making these very explosive statements, and these are allegations that can virtually turn the Bollywood and the political circles in Maharashtra, you know, a 360 degrees, Rahul, because what he says is there is a man who was called, this was Sohail, somebody he names, who's a drug supplier, who has named, and he
Sohail
says
Sagar.
he's in possession of Sohail Sagar, and he says he's in possession of those video chats. Sohail Sagar names Imtiyaz Khatri, and he says Sohail Sagar was summoned by the Mumbai police, but the questioning was not even recorded. Not recorded. And if you see the visuals, he says, of those days when the Mumbai police had called 56 people, this was not even recorded because he has big connections in the ministries, he says, and with the NCP, he says.
Let's have a look at this, this circle of influence. Let's just go to this graphic that we put together. Why is Imtiyaz Khatri so crucial to this? Now, remember, Times Now takes no responsibility. Ashok Sarogi has come out. He is not just some bystander in this particular case. He is directly linked to this case because he represents, viewers, represents crucial link between Rhea and Sushant Singh Rajput, and that person is Modi. And her name is Shruti Modi. She has been summoned today as we speak for questioning, and obviously to distance his client, to distance Rhea, to distance all the other people. Navika was actually naming at the top of this show, Deepesh, Pathani, all these characters from the drugs. This person has come out and he is speaking what he claims is a verifiable fact, verifiable truth. Now, viewers, Imtiyaz Khatri is a celebrity builder, producer. He's got a large number of connections with the Bollywood A-list. Those are the pictures. I can't recognize half these stars, Navika. You're an expert at this. You watch a lot of Bollywood cinema. I can't recognize most of them. Some of them, of course, the most prominent ones I can see. But look above, viewers.
Well, there is,
Khatri, father,
there are
Nisar
pictures
Khatri,
with
brother.
Manish Malhotra, with Suraj
Yes.
Pancholi. There is Karan Johar in some of those pictures. Also Hrithik Roshan in some of those pictures. Tiger Shroff, Jackie Shroff's son, also in some of those pictures. And of course, Suraj Pancholi appears in those pictures more than once. Shah Rukh Khan and his son Ranveer Singh, virtually the who's who of Bollywood in those pictures, with Imtiyaz Khatri, producer, somebody who's in the top circuit, clearly a very moneyed guy, builder for the outside world as a profession.
And very interestingly, Navika, his father and his brother, Nisar Khatri, brother Fateh Khatri, who is the father, were named alongside Ajit Pawar in the irrigation scam. Now, it was very, very interesting, and I don't want to, read too many motives into this, but it's very interesting because Parth Pawar came out
and said that this should be investigated. And Sharad Pawar came out and said, COVID ko dekhna chahiye.
COVID ko dekhna chahiye, ye sab band karo, and called him immature. He called him immature, and he said that, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. Today, the question, not us, BJP, every other political party in the opposition is asking, was deliberately this drug angle overlooked as a factor in Sushant Singh Rajput's death, mysterious death, because of the connections? And today, one of those who is accused, that person's lawyer has nailed the connection. Mr. Imtiyaz Khatri is being named not by Times Now, but by Ashok Sarogi, who is the lawyer for Shruti Modi.
And Shruti Modi is the person who was seen in many of those drug chats that were held between the close group that was working in Sushant Singh Rajput's house. Samuel Miranda, Shouvik Chakravarti, Rhea Chakravarti, Jaya Saha. Also coming up in these chats was Shruti Modi. And Shruti Modi in several chats is somebody who's given the packet, who receives the packet. So clearly she knows what's going on. And of course, some other pictures have surfaced that on the 12th of June.
Navika, the ones that you exposed?
Those chats
Use
which
4
we
drops in
exposed
coffee,
last
tea
week.
or water and let him sip it, give it to him, have it sent up, have asked him to coordinate. Just let's go back to those drug chats if you can. That's Rhea to Jaya Saha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Jaya
sending
Saha
those
to
drugs.
Rhea.
And she says, I'll send, somebody will deliver, and Shruti can come down and take it up.
30-40 minutes it will take to kick in.
Yes,
so quite
all
clearly,
of those.
now
all
they're
of
saying
those
that we don't purchase these drugs. These drugs materialize because the supplier is Imtiyaz Khatri. He's the one who delivered them to us. God alone knows what. Why are you going after us? Everyone is trying to save their skin.
Pass the buck. Pass the buck is what's going on.
And they have passed it on to...
Just look at this. Look at this. Shruti Modi, named in these chats, is part of these chats. Her lawyer now comes out and says, my client, well, don't talk about my client, talk about the video chats that I have. And he names, Ashok Sarogi names Sohail, somebody who's the supplier of drugs, and he is in turn naming Imtiyaz Khatri. So Imtiyaz Khatri willy-nilly named by Ashok Sarogi, and the connections to the NCP also nailed by Mr. Ashok Sarogi.
This is what Ashok Sarogi says, quote unquote. All these drugs are supplied by the topmost person in the trade, Mr. Khatri. As far as Mr. Khatri is concerned, he's a big person. He has influence not only in Bollywood, but also among the ministry. He's close to NCP. His 2 family members were also involved in the irrigation scam and were behind bars. When the current government came into power, they were granted bail. The father and son were jailed for almost 2 years. They have now been bailed out.
And not just that, he says when Sohail Sagar has specifically named him, Bandra police called him, where he was there for a day, but he has big connections. No records were made. If you take out the footage, you will find that footage, but subsequently all records about his presence were gone. So this entire trade is being controlled by Mr. Khatri, and it is nothing new. I have come across so many people who are taking the drugs, who are forced to take drugs, and on some occasions, due to want of work, they are being forced into this line. So Ashok Sarogi clearly pointing out Sohail Sagar was questioned by Bandra police, but all traces of his questioning and all records were removed from Bandra police. On whose order?
This is very big question.
Was the NCP Home Minister Anil Deshmukh ordering removing of his name, connections with Imtiyaz Khatri to be buried, Sohail Sagar to be buried? That's the big question. Let's listen in to Ashok Sarogi once again. And ladies and gentlemen, concentrate on each and every word, because each word will tell you how deep this rot runs and how everybody who's anybody in Mumbai knows about it.
Now, as far as drugs are concerned, it's a very common thing in the film industry. If you remember, one of the TV actresses has committed suicide, and her boyfriend was in the clouds, and there was a news that he was supplier of the drugs. There were other news also, like Mamta Kulkarni and others. So it's a very common factor. Even today, if you wander around the Lokhandwala area and the Oshiwara area, I'm sure you will be in a position to get some person who is ready to deliver you the things. So it's a very common thing in the film industry. Now, as far as the supply etc. is concerned, it is also within the knowledge of the police authorities as to how these things are being supplied. All these drugs are being supplied by one of the topmost person in the trade, that is Mr. Khatri. Now, as far as Mr. Khatri is concerned, he is a very big person. I believe today...
What's his full name, sir? What's his...
Imtiyaz Khatri.
Okay.
I believe that today, since I am taking his name, tomorrow there might be some problems with me also, because he is that kind of influential person. He do not have influence only in the Bollywood, but also in the ministry. He is very close to the political party, that is NCP. And I must tell you, his two family members were also involved in the irrigation scheme running into thousands of crores of rupees. They were behind the bar, and it is only after the present government came into existence they have been granted bail. So
Who are those two relatives, sir, if you can name for our viewer?
Father and son, both were behind the bar for almost, I can say, about 2 years. And thereafter, when the present government came, obviously their own government has come, and therefore they have been bailed out. Now,
We have one video of also 2017 party where Mr. Khatri, allegedly Mr. Khatri, can be seen guiding Sushant, controlling him, guiding him to the vehicle.
Sir, I'll tell you that if you look at that video will show how many politicians have attended to that party. Now, I'm sure that you will find at least the number of MLAs of Maharashtra Assembly, as it was at that point of time, attending that party, which will show the kind of influence he was having upon the politicians.
So you're making these allegations on Imtiaz Khatri. Has ever any link of him in the past came with the drug cartel or drug racket? How much you are sure when you're making these allegations on Mr. Imtiaz Khatri?
Sir, I have got this information from the video chats which I have in my possession. Of course, Khatri is not named, but the person whom I have named, Sohail Sagar, that he has specifically named these persons. I must tell you, Bandra Police has called him, and he was there at Bandra Police Station for about a day, and thereafter, obviously, since he has got a big connections, he was allowed to go, and no records have been made. If you take out the footage of Bandra Police Station, you will find his presence, but subsequently, all the records about his attendance, etc., that has gone. So this entire trade is being controlled by Mr. Khatri, and it is nothing new, because since I am concerned with the film trade, I come across so many persons who are taking the drugs, who are known to me, who are being forced to take the drugs, and on some of the occasions, because of say want of work, etc., they are being forced to go into this line.
Well, Ashok Sarogi makes a very huge charge here, and he also says that because I'm revealing this, my life could be in danger. Clearly, naming such big names, naming the politicians, naming the drug dealers could get Ashok Sarogi into trouble, and he now fears for his life. The big declaration coming in from Ashok Sarogi, lawyer representing Shruti Modi, and clearly at this time, CBI, Narcotics Control Bureau, and the Enforcement Directorate should first be looking at him as a major witness, as a major person of interest who needs security, because he has evidence. He says he has video chats where all these individuals are named.
Navika, this is crucial evidence.
Very
if this
crucial
gets destroyed,
evidence. And
we are
this
done
man's
for.
life could be in danger.
And he says so. He said the man is so powerful. Let me just quickly go across to Siddhant, who spoke to Mr. Sarogi. Siddhant, this is a very crucial, very crucial bit of information that is being shared here. What does this tell you? And do you really believe that Ashok Sarogi's life could be in danger?
Well, you see, Rahul, Mr. Sarogi is a senior lawyer with Bombay High Court. He is also representing Shruti Modi in this case. He is somebody who is expert on the subject of drugs, and he has made these allegations on Times Now's camera. Now, the fact here is the confidence he is showing while making the allegations. At the same time, he says that he also knows the politicians, those who were present in that particular party. He also talks about the irrigation scam, and he mentions that 2 of Khatri family members were sent to jail in the irrigation scam. Not just that, he clearly comes out and said that my life is under threat since I am making these allegations for the first time. So a very outspoken lawyer from the Bombay High Court has made the serious allegation on Mr. Khatri. He also has to say that Mr. Khatri has close links with Nationalist Congress Party. He knows some top leaders from the party, and this is perhaps the reason that the people from his family got saved in irrigation scam also, and this is the reason that even Bandra police summoned him, but he was never taken on record. So this is what Mr. Sarogi is claiming on national television. Now Mr. Sarogi also has to say that he has certain proofs, he has some proof with him, and on that basis only he's making these allegations. He's also mentioning a name of a guy called Sohail Sagar, who used to supply drugs through Imtiyaz Khatri, and lot of other things are there also. Now Rahul, the fact here is that that NCB has reached a breakthrough in the entire case. We have been told a person has been detained who has direct link with Shovik and Rhea Chakrabarti. Now NCB is definitely going to look into this particular angle, because you see there's a 2017 video also which we are playing on the viewers, where you can see Mr. Khatri is walking behind Sushant and kind of controlling him. Second, there are other things also, other information with NCB also. In all likelihood, Mr. Khatri can be summoned also in this case. This is what our sources are also confirming. But so far, the allegation by Mr. Sarogi is something which is very serious in nature, and agencies are considering it. Back to you.
Let me also get in Nikunj Garg at this point. Nikunj, names of NCP have been taken at this point, but do you think this can happen without the top level of politics in the Maharashtra government? You think this is possible without the Shiv Sena knowing about it, without the Congress party's ministers knowing about it? Because these names have come in from Ashok Sarogi, and he is the lawyer of Shruti Modi, and he says he has video chats with him where these names have been taken.
Well, Navika, Mr. Sarogi quite clearly a Bollywood insider, or a man who has criminal legal knowledge of goings on inside the Bollywood. He speaks with some amount of authority, and as Siddhant was saying, he practices as Mumbai bar, which quite clearly makes him somebody knowledgeable about the businesses. And if under the inquest proceedings, which are headed by a magistrate, Mumbai Police has actually called in somebody and not taken his testimonial on the record, excluded him from the testimonial proceedings of the inquest, then this is a criminal offense, and individuals will have to bear the brunt of it, face responsibility. This is not something that the police is doing under a mandate of its own. This is a magisterial inquest. A magistrate heads it, and a judicial process has been vitiated, if we believe Mr. Sarogi. We haven't yet heard from the Mumbai Police, so till that point in time, we will have to reserve our judgment. Nonetheless, as I said, Mr. Sarogi is a responsible man. He is not an innocent bystander or somebody who is complete rank outsider to the entire system. Therefore, at least the individuals that he is naming in his testimonial must be called by the investigation agencies. At least the 3 premier agencies of this country are involved in the investigation. Under their mandate, these investigations must be carried out. The statements must be recorded, and the relevant questions must also be asked to the relevant police officers of Mumbai Police, whether these claims being made by Mr. Sarogi can be completely debunked, or if they cannot debunk them, then obviously there is something more to it than meets the eye.
It's becoming very clear at this point in time. Big names are tumbling out of the cupboard. Ashok Sarogi, lawyer of Shruti Modi, in order to steal his own client and save her from the questions on the drug charge that she is facing, names many big names. Imtiyaz Khatri, the man who has links with Bollywood and with politicians. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with much more on the other side.
As drugs are concerned, it's a very common thing in the film industry. If you remember, one of the TV actresses has committed suicide, and her boyfriend was in the clouds, and there was a news that he was supplier of the drugs. There were other news also, like Mamta Kulkarni and others. So it's a very common factor. Even today, if you wander around the Lokhandwala area and Oshiwara area, I'm sure you will be in a position to get some person who is ready to deliver you the things. So it's a very common thing in the film industry. Now, as far as the supply etc. is concerned, it is also within the knowledge of the police authorities as to how these things are being supplied. All these drugs are being supplied by one of the topmost person in the trade, that is Mr. Khatri. Now, as far as Mr. Khatri is concerned, he is a very big person. I believe today...
What's his full name, sir?
Imtiyaz Khatri.
Okay.
I believe that today, since I am taking his name, tomorrow there might be some problems with me also, because he is that kind of influential person. He do not have influence only in the Bollywood but also in the ministry. He is very close to the political party, that is NCP. And I must tell you, his 2 family members were also involved in the irrigation scheme running into thousands of crores of rupees. They were behind the bar, and it is only after the present government came into existence they have been granted bail. So
Who are those 2 relatives, sir, if you can name for our viewer?
Father and son, both were behind the bar for almost, I can say, about 2 years. And thereafter, when the present government came, obviously their own government has come, and therefore they have been bailed out. Now,
We have one video of also 2017 party where Mr. Khatri, allegedly Mr. Khatri, can be seen guiding Sushant, controlling him, guiding him to the vehicle.
Sir, I'll tell you that if you look at that video will show how many politicians have attended to that party. Now, I'm sure that you will find at least the number of MLAs of Maharashtra Assembly as it was at that point of time attending that party, which will show the kind of influence he was having upon the politicians.
Sir, you're making these allegations on Imtiaz Khatri. Has ever any link of him in the past came with the drug cartel or drug racket? How much you are sure when you're making these allegations on Mr. Imtiaz Khatri?
Sir, I have got this information from the video chats which I have in my possession. Of course, Khatri is not named, but the person whom I have named, Sohail Sagar, that he has specifically named these persons. I must tell you, Bandra Police has called him, and he was there at Bandra Police Station for about a day, and thereafter, obviously, since he has got a big connections, he was allowed to go and no records have been made. If you take out the footage of Bandra Police Station, you will find his presence. But subsequently, all the records about his attendance, etc., that has gone. So this entire trade is being controlled by Mr. Khatri, and it is nothing new, because since I am concerned with the film trade, I come across so many persons who are taking the drugs, who are known to me, who are being forced to take the drugs, and on some of the occasions, because of say want of work, etc., they are being forced to go into this line.
Well, serious disclosure here by Ashok Sarogi. Serious disclosure. This disclosure is going to obviously shake up the firmament here in Bollywood, because big names are connected with this individual. Mr. Khatri, Mr. Imtiyaz Khatri is a very influential person. If he is being accused by none other than Rhea's own friend, and many people say drug chat accomplice,
manager,
and
whatever.
drug chat accomplice, then this has to be taken on board as perhaps even evidence. This will become much bigger, viewers. But let me also tell you that right here, also today, more names are tumbling out. More suppliers' names are being taken. Times now, investigation is getting bigger. We actually stung certain peddlers who have been questioned and could be also in the custody of the agencies. And they have named also very big names.
And
listen to this.
These names really hold the key to this entire drug cartel. And this drug cartel clearly was giving some orders. What were these orders? How were they connected to Sushant Singh Rajput is something that investigators are going to be looking at. But take a look at this camera confession of peddlers, of the names involved in drug peddling in Mumbai.
सबसे बड़ा नाम जो है इस ड्रग्स के धंधे में मुंबई में कौन सबसे बड़ा पेडलर है जिसका सबसे ज्यादा माल आता है, क्या खुलासा उसके बारे में?
सबसे बड़ा नाम मुंबई में एक ही है, चिंकू पठान करके नाम है। उनका ही सबसे मतलब उनके पास में माल उतरता है, जैसा कि अभी 20 किलो 30 किलो उतरा तो फिर वो हिसाब से माल जाता है पूरा बम्बई में।
चिंकू पठानी का नेटवर्क कितना बड़ा है, कॉन्टैक्ट कितना बड़ा है?
बहुत बड़ा कॉन्टैक्ट है। और दूसरा जो है इम्मा, वो सब पूरा बांद्रा साइड संभालता है और वो फिल्म स्टूडियो में जितना माल देने का है वो सब सबसे बड़ा नाम है उन ये दोनों नाम सबसे बड़ा है।
तो इम्मा क्या वो अकेले इंडिपेंडेंट काम करता है या वो चिंकू पठानी के लिए काम?
नहीं, वो अकेला करता है, इम्मा अकेला करता है और चिंकू पठान अकेला करता है। चिंकू पठान का ऐसा है कि अभी आया जैसा माल तो पूरा पास करेगा आपको, समझे? हाँ, 200 ग्राम करके सब जगह मतलब पास होएगा। पास होने के बाद में सब जगह ग्राम के हिसाब से बनता है, वजन होने के हिसाब से 10 ग्राम का एक पैकेज बनता है, पैकेट बन के फिर बिकता है पूरा।
और इम्मा का कॉन्टैक्ट जो कितना बड़ा है, उसका नेटवर्क कितना बड़ा है, कौन लोग उसके कॉन्टैक्ट?
सब फिल्म स्टार हो गए, टीवी सीरियल वाले हो गए, ये सब उनके कॉन्टैक्ट में। इम्मा के पूरे जो बांद्रा जू हो गया, ये सब पूरा एरिया इम्मा का जाएगा और बम्बई साइड में चिंकू पठान का लगता है।
Well, names being taken here, Chinku Pathan and Batata and all of these drug suppliers. And let me get in our guest this evening, Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, Subhransh Rai, political analyst, Vikas Gupta, lawyer. But my first question goes to Suresh Nakhua, political analyst. And Suresh Nakhua, I want to ask you, can all these drug peddlers function, supply drugs to A-listers in Bollywood, be present and be connected to politicians across the spectrum and not be known to the Mumbai Police?
I think we've got an audio problem with you, Mr. Nakhua. We can't hear you. You might be on mute. Could you just quickly unmute yourself? Unmute yourself. That's right. Yeah, let's unmute. Okay, we're going to try and reconnect. Can you hear me? Suresh Nakhua, can you hear me? Okay, we have a few problems, but Navika, those revelations completely.
Charu Pragya, why don't you take that question? And I want to ask you, Charu Pragya, if these such drug peddlers and such rackets existed, you know, governments have come, governments have gone. There was the BJP government, now there is the Aghadi government. You think politicians don't know about the existence of this drug racket in Mumbai? Why does government after government turn a blind eye?
First of all, I am very glad, Navika, that whatever the horrid reasons for this entire investigation, so much is coming to the fore now, so much is being found out, so much investigation is going on, and so much of it is thanks to Times Now as well. Because of this investigation, we have come to know that there are cartels at play. There are huge names which have been protected.
Are you saying earlier you didn't know? Because people say that drugs, Bollywood, politicians is not something new at all. It's the worst kept secret of Mumbai. So how come you're looking at this in wide-eyed innocence as if a revelation has come to light only in 2020?
See, Navika, unfortunately, this is a situation where those who are caught are going to be called thieves. At least now there is a situation where thieves can be caught. There have been stories written and movies made about this entire
वही चोर है जो निकल गया, उससे कोई सवाल ही नहीं। तो आप कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी के जमाने में निकल गए तो अब आप उन्हें चोर नहीं कह सकते। सुरेश नखवा, I want to ask you this, and this is a charge made by Mr. Ashok Sarogi. He says Mumbai Police even summoned one of the drug peddlers, the big name, and questioned him, but all records were removed from the Bandra police station. Now, if that's true, this is a huge revelation that's coming in, and he also says that his life could be in danger. Suresh Nakhua, it's the worst kept secret in Mumbai, the drug circuit and Bollywood connection. Nobody knew about this before this?
As it is being said in very hush-hush tones that Mumbai Police is under tremendous pressure to divert the investigation, to leave the original. From the day one, their behavior has been suspicious. So, if the Ashok Sarogi ji is saying that some peddler has been called and it was not taken on record, he might be having the knowledge about it. And he is talking about one more name called Imtiyaz Khatri. So who's very well connected with the National Congress Party, NCP, who are the ruling. Now in Hashaston cities also say that there is one more son of a political leader who is also involved. So I mean, this is, you can say, a big mix of Bollywood, politics and drugs.
That's serious, very, very serious charges that are being leveled. Now it's becoming a political slugfest, very big political slugfest. Subhransh Rai ji, आपने सुना अशोक सारोगी ने क्या कहा है? इस पे आप क्या टिप्पणी करेंगे सर? What are you going to say? Exposed. Is this why we have seen such an attempt to try and push one narrative over the other? The big names.
राहुल जी, मैं सबसे पहले टाइम्स नाउ को बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि आज उन्होंने एक और बड़े ड्रग पेडलर को पकड़ा है जिसके बारे में देश को पता चला। ये वही है उसी तरह का जैसे एक्यूज नंबर 5 था संदीप सिंह, जिसका डायरेक्ट रिलेशन है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं देवेंद्र फडणवीस के साथ, कंगना रनौत के साथ, विजय रूपानी के साथ, जिसको गुजरात गवर्नमेंट ने 177 करोड़ का वाइब्रेंट गुजरात से फंडेड भी किया था। अभी तक आखिर उससे संदीप सिंह से जांच क्यों नहीं हुई? वो एक संदीप सिंह नहीं है, कल संदीप सिंह था।
Okay, one minute. I was not allowed to complete my statements, but then here is this person who is letting accusations fly left, right and center without any proof. One minute. ये किधर से आकर कहां से आप क्या बोल रहे हैं भाई?
उसका संदीप सिंह का ऐसा क्या कनेक्शन है? देखिए उसका
कनेक्शन मैं बताता हूँ।
नहीं, हम बताते हैं ना क्या कनेक्शन है। Let me ask you what is the connection before you get flying off the handle and you let every accusation fly under the roof.
बंदे का संबंध कंगना रनौत के साथ भी है।
No, this is completely not done. You cannot just sit here and take names because it suits you. You cannot sit here and take names without any proof for no reason.
क्या मैं अपनी बात रख लूं? चारू जी बोलने दीजिए।
नहीं, आप नहीं कर लीजिए अपनी बात, क्योंकि हम भी अपनी बात करना चाहते हैं।
Hamaरी बात coming in at this moment. We have big breaking news coming in at this moment. The Narcotics Control Bureau has got tip-offs from some of the people they were tapping over the last 2 days, and they have caught 3.5 kgs of bud, which has been seized from Mumbai and Delhi, and these have been seized, sourced from Canada and destined for Goa. The Narcotics Control Bureau has conducted an intensive operation against illegal import of curated marijuana, which is bud, and primarily sourced from USA and Canada and has a huge market. This is available at 5,000 rupees per gram. And 3.5 kgs have been recovered at this point in time. And if we can just take those videos on air, can I just, yes, those are the pictures on air. And there are some videos as well, if we could play them out. And these, the accused have links with celebrities. This is the big haul that the Narcotics Control Bureau has got. Priyank Tripathi joining us on the show. Priyank, the Narcotics Control Bureau has gotten into action, 3.5 kgs of bud being caught, and this shows links with A-listers in Bollywood.
Yes, certainly, Navika, what the NCB is saying, although they have been carrying out raids since morning, which has been reported by us, but what is it is being told by the NCB that the seizure, which has been made from Delhi as well as from Mumbai, and has a huge link with all these celebrities. What they are saying that the source which was of the consignment which was recovered from Mumbai is suddenly coming from Canada as well as other foreign countries, and it was destined to Goa. So the Goa link, the link with the Mumbai cartel, is suddenly being established by the NCB. What they're saying that this particular bud of 3.5 kg has been seized by them, and very specifically they have said that there is a widespread use and demand of bud in Mumbai region and had been jacked by the price of the grey market. and it has, there have been several traffickers who are based in Mumbai. So what we have been reporting has also come up during this particular season, which has been done by the NCB unit, where they are saying that two specific points. One, this drug which was coming out from abroad was the destined for Mumbai as well as for Goa. It has linked with the Bollywood celebrities, and this particular drug has a huge market in Mumbai.
So, Priyank, is this a result of the sudden lens that has come on to drug peddlers? Thanks to the investigations that Times Now has been carrying out since last week, when we recovered the drug chats that were going on between Rhea Chakrabarti and the other associates like Jaya Saha, Shruti Modi, as well as Samuel Miranda and Shouvik Chakrabarti. Is this a fallout of this investigation?
Yes, certainly, Navika. What NCB is saying, that the operation which was carried out in Mumbai and Goa, they have found that F. Ahmed is a driver of a very well-known hotelier in Goa, and F. Ahmed was based in Kalingut. Kalingut is in the north part of Goa, and remember, Navika, this particular individual who has been brought by the NCB, who is in question, Mr. Arya, also has a resort in North Goa. He is not from South Goa. So this Kalingut, Goa and North Goa nexus and supply of drugs which was coming out from abroad and being sent to Goa and Mumbai for celebrities. We have seen that Rhea Chakrabarti had also very frequently traveled to Goa without Sushant Rajput also. So there was a destination which was there in Goa where these individuals used to go. North Goa is a location where Gaurav Arya has his resort, and this particular individual, F. Ahmed, who is also from Kalingut area of Goa, also lies in North Goa. So there cannot be any more example, Navika, which can establish that the NCB, which is working on the initial information.
Well, we are going to be looking at this very, very closely, viewers. Thanks to Times Now's investigations into the drug links today, there has been a massive tremor felt across the underworld, where their connections to drug trafficking are now tumbling out of the closet at lightning speed. Let's hope that for the interests of this country, for our territorial integrity, sovereignty and security, we can really get to the bottom of this entire cartel, which is weakening the foundations of our great land.
Absolutely, because drugs and terror have a close connection. And when we get to the drugs, we probably are going to be in a better position to fight terror, which is something that is being exported to our country from across the border. And this fight has only just begun. Thank you very much for watching Explosive Exclusive with Rahul Shivshankar and myself. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with a bigger investigation. We'll keep you updated on all the latest that's going on in this investigation.